What a month August has been. An editor of IGN has been given the boot out of the door, GameCon was more interesting than E3, and I was on holiday for my birthday. So if you're wondering why I didn't show the toppings on We Happy Few, then this is probably it really, even though I didn't play We Happy Few. But this month's focus was on the other show I was doing, The Leftovers, and there were 2 Nintendo games I was also playing as well, so now it's time to talk about them. Now remember, these are my opinions and sometimes there might be some spoilers along the way, so here are the games that I've been playing and their designated times in this video. Welcome back to the HUD everyone, I'm Zacharoni and today I'll be going through some of the games I have been playing throughout August. So without further ado, please be seated and here comes your second helpings. With the announcement of a release window of 2009 for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I thought it might be time to play the first game before the sequel is released. After all, it's a game I've been wanting to play ever since it was first shown in 2014, with its amazing art style that is almost like it'd been ripped from The Lion King, and the soundtrack that I couldn't stop humming to while playing this game. But while you are focusing on the presentation, you need to focus on the gameplay to make it a classic, and that's what Moon Studios did. From a backward somersault from a wall to swimming underwater, every command I did on my controller feels tight and responsive, and it makes exploring the environment rewarding and fun. But the real highlight of the game is the 3 Zelda-style areas, where I was presented with a new scenario, like utilizing gravity to get to one area to another, and then at the end of the area, I was presented with escape sequences, which is a nice change of pace instead of facing a big bad boss of the dungeon. It all helped out by the interesting bash ability that allows her to get an extra boost in the air when she's near a projectile or an enemy, and it can be used to deflect projectiles right back at them, depending on which way you are going. On the downside though, there are only 3 dungeons in the game, and the final one leads to the ending of the game, which was satisfying, but I wish the game threw one more hidden dungeon, plus the game's villain has an understandable motivation. Overall, Ori and the Blind Forest controls well, has a touching story, and its music is so catchy that I can't get it out of my head to this day. Now I'm ready to experience the Will of the Wisps later next year. Now before we move on, I want to show you my character models that I have been working on. This is me right here, and these are the other characters with round heads. Now admittedly, they are not that original, but I will be just using them during Nintendo parts in the second helpings and... Huh? What's that? Yahtzee might sue me for copying his characters. Well, there are some differences between mine and his. First off, my characters have Powerpuff Girl's arms and legs, while Yahtzee's are just circles for hands. And finally, mine are fully dressed, unlike his that are fully naked. No offense, Yahtzee. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Oh, and love your content, Yahtzee, and I will try out your game Hatfall later. That gotta get me a few points from him. WarioWare Touch was the first game I played featuring Wario as a main character, but instead of a platformer, it's actually a set of microgames that I have to complete in a few seconds, which feature the cast of colorful characters. Now the next title in the franchise is WarioWare Gold for the 3DS, and it features not only the microgames from Touch, but also others from the first 2 GBA games as well. WarioWare Inc., where I have to utilize the D-pad and buttons, and WarioWare Twisted, with its left and right gyro controls as well as a few new ones. At first, this might turn off a few players because they have played these games before, but for me, I only play Touch, so this is a new experience, and I like it because it mixes things up with the features on the 3DS. So one moment I would be keeping a businessman out of the building with the buttons, and then the next I would be swinging a sword around with the gyro controls. But the downside is that I completed the game in an hour, but coming back to a level of a game allow me to earn coins to unlock hidden goodies like music, Nintendo accessories from the past, and cars which have no use for them. However, there is the challenge menu where I was presented with special survival challenges, like how many times you can keep playing, and there are even ones that you need to keep playing without losing a single life. However, there are 3 modes that I actually enjoyed the most. Wario Interrupts is where Wario will alter the screen to distract you from completing the microgames, and Split Screen is where you had to utilize the 2 screens on the 3DS, so once you complete the microgames on the bottom screen, right away you are presented with a new one on the top screen, which keep the pacing going. But the one mode that kept me on my toes is Sneaky Gamer, where you must keep playing the game to the end without your mom noticing you. It's intense when you need to keep checking the top screen so your mom won't come in angrily like a tiger released out of her cage. Now admittedly, this game was first featured in Game & Wario for the Wii U, but I didn't play that game, so this is a first experience for me. But what about the presentation though? Well, the microgames that I succeed or fail at always put a smile on my face. But outside of it, you get humorous stiff animations with every character fully voiced for the first time, and they match their personality, especially Ashley with her "I really don't care" attitude. While there aren't any new characters to follow, but I'm kind of intrigued with a side character named 13 App, with her trendy looks and calm rapping attitude that should make a return for future titles. Overall, WarioWare Gold is an enjoyable experience that is best to play in part-time to improve my performance, but I'm wondering what's next for WarioWare, especially for the Switch. Hashtag put in 13 app. When Ubisoft announced that the Rabbids were going to team up with Mario, I didn't give a single rabbit dropping about it because of how much I hate these unfunny fluffballs for what they did to Rayman. But when I started playing it, I was immediately in love with this game. But why did I like Kingdom Battle though? Was it the forgiving turn-based combat? The funny interactions? The soundtrack? The opera scene? That's what I've been thinking when I started playing this DLC. But after playing it, I started to realize that I was playing it wrong, and I was having fun. The big difference is that I only have 3 characters to control. Rabbid Peach returns as mid-range / support of the team with her healing ability and bubble shield, as well as the main character of the story with her take an iPhone selfie sense of humor. The other 2 are totally new characters. Donkey Kong can use a boomerang to hit multiple enemies near to one another, and can pick up boxes and cover and throw them at enemies, while Cranky Rabbit can put enemies to sleep until my next turn. Plus, he's got a cane that can be used as a shotgun. In fact, I just thought of a birthday gift for my granddad this year. With these new abilities, I came up with new combinations on how to finish a level quickly. However, it's just a shame that there aren't any other characters like Diddy Kong that didn't make the cut. As for the music, which is composed by Grant Kirkhope, matches the atmosphere, but I actually prefer the original soundtrack in the main game, not to mention the one that was performed at E3 this year, which was more epic than this DLC has to offer. No offense, Mr. Kirkhope. Overall, it might be short and there's not any more characters, but I had a great time playing the Donkey Kong DLC. Now I'm just wondering how they're gonna follow it up with a sequel, if there is gonna be one though. When people talk about the best story of all time in video games, they would probably say Red Dead Redemption or The Last of Us. But one title that hadn't got a lot of attention is To the Moon, a top-down adventure game powered by the RPG Maker. Now let's get this out of the way first. The gameplay is nothing special. You just click to move your character or to interact with objects, and the square space puzzles are not revolutionary. But the strongest element of the game is the story. Following 2 doctors, Watts and Rosaline, they are assigned on fulfilling a dying man's wish to go to the moon, and they do this by altering his memory before his death so he can happily rest in peace. At first, it started off simple and then humorous in the second act, but then things got interesting with the third act, making me say, was it really worth it? But then it paid off, giving me an ending that is heartwarming that I'll be still thinking about to this day. Now, I don't usually make recommendations, but this game it's best to go in blindly before knowing more about it. So I'll stop right there and say, overall, To the Moon may be lacking gameplay, but the story is the true heart of the package, and a soundtrack that matches the game's tone. Well, that's all the games I've been playing in August. I hope you appreciate my opinions, and if you like what you see, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. But until then, I'm Zacharoni. Enjoy your pizza, and I'll see you next time.